Stuart's back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I really don't. No audio. No audio. Can you hear me? Let me know if anyone can hear me. All good now. Okay, a bit strange. Got no idea why that happened. It just dropped out and said reconnect, and I reconnected and it dropped out again and reconnected and yeah, sorry, don't know what happened. One of life's mysteries, that one. It's a bit weird. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Born Bar. Thanks for coming back, everyone. The bit of bars in the back of the van because I couldn't be bothered carrying it. It's a bit greasy, etc., 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 and it's fairly heavy. But that's basically to run through the bearings and get some sort of alignment out of them somehow this weekend when we bolt and everything down. And then we're going to put a plummet block at each end and push the bar through them with some sort of a screw arrangement on one end and a tool bit sticking out and a belt pulley on it to run a flat belt. And hopefully we can put some sort of a finish on the inside of them, make them round again so we can put the new shaft in. That's the theory with that. But anyway, got a new bit of shaft. So that's what's happening. Didn't do anything with these studs. I'll get on and finish them at some point, but need a bit of 30mm bar, a bit of 1/8" or something. Probably an 1/8" bar. Sorry for the inconvenience, Peter. Thank you. To make 1/2" nuts. So that's another thing that we've got to make a heap of. Stack load of. So I've got to buy a bit of bar for that. Need a lot of them. And I could have rethreaded these. I could have machined the ends of these and threaded them too, but it didn't happen. So, hey Raymond. Raymond doesn't even know that there was an interruption. I'm sorry about that. We might as well just cover all the stuff again. Don't know if you missed anything. So there was a whole lot of nothing happened. I should have finished those 3 oil pots too, and they never happened either. I sort of stood around and there wasn't very much happened this weekend. Like I said, I got this sign finished, coated on top coat on it, got it sorted, that's ready to go. Pretty cool. I'm redoing my sign box, which is a bit of a job actually. I've still got to screw the door on it tomorrow before I leave. But a bit of a scroll on top and some lettering and a pinstripe. It's not even a pinstripe, it's a big thick stripe around the front. I need to, there's a few scratches on the back and the ends are looking a bit tired all over. It's got paint drips all over it and chips, so forth and so on. So I don't know whether I'm going to continue going on with it. I'm just feeling like I should actually rub it back and give it a different colour paint. Don't know. Got enough purple to do the door, but I'm struggling a bit with that. Every time I pick it up, it bites me, so I'm not that good with that. Hey, Darren. Anyway, it's sort of just a work in progress all the time. And it might get a coat of red or a coat of blue or a coat of yellow or something. I've got plenty of that baby blue. Maybe that'd work. Don't know. But I'm not feeling the love at the moment with it. I guess everyone's seen that. It's got always hand paint on this end. And it did have a nice bit of gold leaf work on the back, but it's a bit scratched up now. They had some paintbrushes and a bow on this end. So, and different design on the door, but the door's just plain at the moment. It'll go back on before I go tomorrow. The weekend. Steam up at fridges. Anyone who's in a position to come really should. Be pretty awesome. I'd appreciate anyone who does. It had a paint spilled all over the top. You couldn't read anything the last time, so it's a little bit tidier than it was. But anyway, steam up the fridges this weekend at the Shenandoah Dam, which is out behind Grafton. Anyone who wants to come, get in touch, and I'll send you the details, and we'll see you there. That's a pretty long shot, but it's honest, genuine. I'm being genuine there. If anyone does want to come and they're in the northern New South Wales and they're watching this, hit me up because we'd love to see you. Come and mess around with some steam engines, whatever your experience level, etc., etc., etc. is. Come and do it. I didn't mess around, and this was a gear that actually got broken because it wasn't meshed properly. 3D printed gear that I had. And when I was messing around making this work the other day, it snapped. So I did print another one of them. Probably a little bit stronger. Been messing with this a bit. I did print a pin for this, but that's all I've got at the moment is a pin. Going to remake this piece here. And I'm reasonably happy with this, but we've got to remake quite a few of these bits, and I'd like to get a proper spline in here. It's all a work in progress. That gives a shear point. Darren, there is a shear key inside here too. This shaft here, where the shaft goes through the gear, there's a shear key in this too. Adam, keep us posted. Is everyone else getting actual footage? Or we dropped out again? Nigel, g'day. Rustinox, hello again. So there is a shear mechanism in here, right, inside here, if we need it. It's a stupid place to put it, but it is there. This needs some considerable reworking. It all sort of works. Did put the oiler in here when I pulled it apart the other weekend. I think I showed you that. So that's done. This is pretty well coming together. This power feed stop thing's starting to work. Got to find another couple of these, which come from China, I think. So I don't know where to even look for those. But that key just fell out of there. So obviously that's sub-adequate. The pin out of here. Nigel, very good video on your die filer, and that's coming together really nice. I really do like mechanisms that are well thought out and thought through. This isn't one of them, but your die filer mechanism really looks good, and I like the stroke length and the spindle lock and all that stuff. It's all really nice to see that. It's my thing, I guess. Go and check out Go Create Hobby Machine, the die filer build. It's not just another die filer, it's a pretty nice little machine that he's building. Go and check that out. Not just another die filer. I'm evolving nicely. I'd like to think this is evolving nicely, but we're taking a couple of steps forward and one step back all the time, and then a couple more steps forward. Anyway, we're getting there, I think, but I don't know. I'd like to take a couple more steps forward with it. Got 4 meters of belt or something today. This has got a bit of texture on the outside. It's not what I was using before, which is a plain one. But this is biothane, which I really like as far as a material goes. This is probably, looking at it, it's probably a bit thicker, which doesn't hurt. It's about the same thickness of what's actually on there. Whereas this one here, I think, is a millimetre thinner. It's the same width. Thanks, Peter. So this is to go on the other set of fast and loose pulleys here. Right. So on these two, let's have a look here. On these two pulleys, this one's attached and this one's not. So this one spins. Probably you can see that. Let's move this over here so you can see. This one spins, this one's attached. Right, this one spins and this one's attached. So if we fire this up, nothing's attached there, so we've got no problems. You won't be able to hear me. But if we move this over here, right, that puts everything in here. Move it back, it stops. It's a bit sticky because we haven't oiled this bearing properly. Does the angle of the shaft change in much relation to the waves when you're threading? This, I'm guessing you're talking about. Don't believe so, because all this is fixed in place and it's the same angle from this part, from whichever whereabouts in the stroke you are. I think that's what you meant. So it doesn't change much. As you wind in, it changes a little bit, but like, no one winds in that far. I don't think it makes any difference to the geometry of it. Anyway, we're going to put a cross belt on here, right? So that when these are, set this up so that when they're both in the middle, nothing happens. Right, cross belt running this one backwards and this one forwards. When we slide that this way, which there is some adjustment here, we'll set that up, and it has been set up like that before. When we slide these two belts this way, this one comes over onto this one, which is also loose, and this one, the cross belt, goes onto here and runs it backwards. Then we slide back to the middle, which stops it, and then we go back this way, and this one and this fixed one goes onto this one, which is also fixed. Right? So that gives us forward. So, interesting, Raymond, interesting, food for thought. Interesting comment, I'll say that. So, that's going to have three positions basically. So there's a centre position, which will be stopped, and that way, which will be fast, which will be forward, and the other way, which will be reverse. So for threading, we can pull this out and stop it and pull it back in reverse pretty well instantaneously. And in practice, I've seen that actually happen. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll get that set up. Then I'm going dark again. On here somehow, and I'm not sure how, I see what you're saying. We'll go back to that, but I think that your maximum is probably that much bend. Maximum is probably, I don't think you would get 45 degrees out of it. I think maximum, like really pushing it. Let's try this. This isn't even tightened down, guys. Tighten it down. There's some adjustment here. Well, that's about maximum adjustment there. It's about 20 degrees, 20, 22 degrees, something like that. Anyway. Hey, sorry about the shaky camera. Hey, Chirpy, good to see you. Good video from Chirpy this week. Bad new. A new lathe could work very well too. Oh, how's yours going, Rust? You should check out Rust Knox's videos on his new lathe as well. Probably should also hang around and wait for a new video from Stefan on his new lathe, but probably that'll just disenchant everybody. So, interesting. Food for thought. Yes, we could turn the tool post. Sort of. Because that changes the geometry this way and this way too. Anyway, that's why this steer box is here, so that it actually comes in close to the center. That's fixed. But I think it would be see, that's right on center there at the moment with that tool. So that's pretty well, that's about 5 degrees, 6 degrees maybe. And probably the maximum diameter that I'm ever going to be turning is probably 3 inches, which is out there. And if so, it'll be in a bigger chuck. So this is going to be quite a bit longer. So 20 degrees is probably it. Hey, Matt, it's good to see you. Anyway, this is more fun too. You know that, Rust Knox. You know that. It's more fun. Anyway, I'm going to give that some thought. So thanks for that, Raymond. Or whoever suggested that. Raymond, wasn't it? I'm going to give that some thought. Will occur to us as we go. I would like to make a 3-position unit on this end here. I've got no idea what it will look like or how it will look or what's actually going to work. But once this is hooked up, I would like 3 positions here with a lockout for reverse. If we could get some sort of an electrical device to with a solenoid to drop this into 3 positions, so dip, 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 dip accurately and hold it in position, that would be very, very nice. Yes, in hindsight, when we put this post in the new tool post, we should have put it 10 mil further that way. We didn't. So we will investigate that when we pull it apart to put that slot in for the power feed dropout. But ideally this stud should be 10 mil further that way. I'm not sure that's actually something that we can do. But we're going to give it some thought. If we could easily, I think we're going to do it. It was sort of suck it and see it. And it worked pretty well as far as geometry goes when I set it up last time. But with this, it might be a little bit different. If we could put a solenoid system on there, we could easily make the rest of it on 3-foot pedals here. So we've got a stop and a forward and a reverse with a lockout or something. Anyway, that's why years down the track. We're still thinking about that. Still thinking about that. It's years down the track. I'll get this finished first. And probably we set this up, we're still going to have it so that we've only still got to move a collar to actually have this enabled for reverse for thread cutting, because it's very easy to move it the wrong way by mistake. So it still needs some sort of a lockout system on it. I'll set it up and get all this done and put the belt on, see what we can do. Probably next week I'm going to have this running forwards and backwards, which would be nice. But no idea till then what's happening. And some thoughts on this. We've had some thoughts on that tonight, so I really appreciate your feedback on that. Got to find a spline and a nut to make a new one of these, and 2 or 3 of these ends, because I really can't be bothered making all 3 of these and getting it all working properly. Whereas a couple of these is fairly straightforward. So I think we're going to use this end, and probably, I don't know, I really don't know. Randy, yes please. Sounds amazing. Anyway, that's where we're at. There's a whole lot of nothing happened on this, a lot of thinking. I've also spent a few hours, like quite a few hours over this weekend, I guess, sketching up ideas and thoughts and colour schemes and things, and a bit of research on actually putting some actual sign writing on the side of my van. So that's a pretty ambitious project, but needs to be done. So got some ideas. Got a quote for wrapping the side panels in a colour that's very similar to Ford's and Empire Blue. There we go. With a red and yellow writing on it. It's fairly high impact, I guess. So if you know what Ford's and Empire Blue is, it's the Ford's and Major and Dexter colour. The Power Major and Dexter colour. That sort of blue, I think. Anyway, I get the whole van wrapped, but I'm sort of really can't afford it or justify it. So there was a whole lot of time spent on that. What else we do? A little bit of CAD training and a little bit of study for my boiler certificate course, which is a bit of a job. Sort of playing with the idea of putting a guard around that hole. Now we've got both belts in place. Need something doing, and I've been planning that for 10 years, but it hasn't happened yet. Got thoughts about it. It only needs to be about 8 inches tall, but it'd be quite a nice casting. It means you've got to have air pressure is the problem with that, Adam. Not sure. Honestly, if we could do it mechanically, I'd be very happy, but messing around with cables and counterweights and things is, well, it's fun, and it's pretty and probably aesthetically pleasing, and probably reasonably fail-safe when it's working. It doesn't seem like the most straightforward method, but I haven't given it much thought. So mate John Pettit's got his cold blue system all up and running again since he moved house. He's got a beautiful cold blue system that does a beautiful job. So probably I should put all this apart and clean it and get it blued. Yes, we could use the stick. The stick's cool, but we've got a like, this is a proper. We've got a proper chain system on this, so I don't know where this line shaft actually come from. Somewhere in Melbourne I bought it. Ball detents are probably, I've not had a lot of luck with them, but probably that would work too. Don't know. We're years down the track. We're getting ahead of ourselves, absolutely. Morning, Dudley. So we've got too much going on with this lathe, and I'm back on this subject. Even James isn't here. I think I kept him up too late chatting, or he kept me up too late chatting or something. Some sort of gate system would be fantastic too, Peter, but we're still thinking about that. There's too many projects happening on this lathe at the moment. We want to get this somewhere near finished before we do anything. I think this is the main one. And then there's this guard on here with the taco on it. That's sort of, I'm happy to put that on hold for a bit. We've got the guard pattern made to put that on there at some point. Get those two things done. I might give it some cardboard-aided design on this guard. I don't know. Don't think it even really needs one, but I could put two studs here. One here somewhere, and one down the back here. And then we could sit the guard on and see how it works and where it fits and everything else. And see if it's actually feasible. So there we are. And when we take this apart to put this slot in here, we might consider moving this forward 10mm. If we could move it out here another 10mm, that would fix 1,000 things. Like, honestly, it would. But I'm not sure what it's actually into here, or what's... I put that one in here because it used to be back here, and that's next to useless. That's where the original launch one was set up. So I put it in here because the tool post on this was terrible. And in hindsight, it could have been another 10mm out that way. But Probably if we could set this up with 2 pedals so that we've got forward and reverse and spring-loaded return. Hey, Anne. So that you take your foot off and everything stops, and then you push your foot on the other pedal to reverse it. That's sort of what we're looking. And there's a couple of cast iron pedals that I do have. I believe Stuart has in a box down there for me to collect at some point. Don't know when. But I think probably we put a rod with a, like, affix them to a plate down here. We haven't got any light down here at all. Sorry guys. There's that long pulley there anyway. That's what that pulley there. Can we actually see that? I think so. This pulley here, the other belt runs on this as well, and they slide end to end, so that's long enough for the 4. Probably down this end we'll put a bar between this leg and this leg all the way along with some collars on it, and hinge the pedals off there with some sort of a spring loaded with shaft up through here and some sort of springs underneath here to return them. And from there, if we've got 2 shafts coming through the bench top, it's somewhere that when you push them down, they engage, then probably we can work out some sort of system. But it's all about systems. Bearing in mind, I would very much like this to be over here by the motor, so we can put a sheet up in front of the motor and then put them here in the centre, because I would like a cabinet in this end at some point. So that's another project. It's probably not a very big one, but I believe there to be in this leg here in the flat, there's a hole and another one in here. So we could run an inch shaft between the 2 with a bolt in each end, or a 3/8, something solid so you can stand on it or it's not going to get bent. And then some stop collars and a bush or something to run some pedals on. So what's the gear ratio between the motor shaft and spindle? Between this spindle and this shaft, I think you think. Or are you talking about this motor shaft here? This motor shaft here is about 4 to 1, 5 to 1. Right? And this is about 2 to 1. Probably could. It means moving everything that way. It's a lot of messing around. Adam. So motor shafts, $17.50 I think on this motor. Got a feeling it's a 3-phase motor. No, it might be $14.40 and it's running at 70 hertz. So it's about 1600 RPM flat out. Down to what, 4 to 1 I think. So what have we got, 400 on this shaft? And then 2 to 1. Oh, the tool chest is worked out. We've got drawings for that. We've got everything. We've just got to sit down with some plywood and do that. But above all, we need to work out where everything else is going so it's not in the way. So this shaft here, what have we got? When I put my hand there, you can't see a thing. I'll move this light down here. This shaft here must be going about 4 to 1 on 16, is about 400 RPM. Which brings us through to about 2 to 1 up to here, which gives us about 800 RPM on here, flat out. So from here to here is 1 to 1. Here to here is 2 to 1. So that gives us 1600 RPM on the shaft here, right? And here to here is 1 to 2, which gives us back to 400, I think. So without messing with the VFD, which we've got enough to play with now, and we've got 400, 800 and 1600 on there. I think roughly, flat out. I could run a tacho on it and tell you exactly, but I think that's about the ratio. Having a tacho on here would tell us exactly, which would make it very useful with the VFD. But this is all just sitting here, by the way. What I'd very much like, and we've discussed this before, is to move that pulley into a epicyclic sort of a gearbox, like a Sturmey H gearbox, something like that, so that we've got a 2-to-1 ratio there. So that we've got 200, 400 and 800 on here. And we can slow it down to about 150 or 100 on the tacho, 100, 200, 300, something like that. Which would be very nice if you had a back gear in this pulley. Giving it some thought, might happen one day. I've sort of got a design, but it doesn't sort of work. I 3D printed a design and messed with it, doesn't work. So I did some redesign and thinking about it. It's still on work in process. The other pulley is for a cutting frame or a grinding spindle or something. It hasn't happened. It might one day. And I've got another pulley to go on here too when I lift this shaft out, because I haven't had it on there. There's another V pulley to match this. It's only half the diameter. Anyway, I hope that explains some things. But as you can see, there's no shortage of projects on this. Right? I'd like to get this bit finished, like this all sorted in a box, 12 months, 2 years time frame on that. By the time I fix all this, I've actually got this done. I think this bit on here is pretty sweet. Mate, this is really nice. This gearbox, that all works. It's pretty nice. Good job. Be nice to get down to 50 or so. Yes, it would. The back gear gearbox probably will do that, but we can drop for some jobs. We can drop it quite a bit on the VFD and still have some power. If we start this, that's 70, and this is 1-to-1. So what are we doing there? I think that's about 800, something like that. I think that's about 550 at 50 hertz, something like that. And someone can do the maths. At 40 hertz, that's pretty slow. If we run the belt across onto this pulley, we're going slower again. Or onto this pulley, we're going slower again. So let's run this off roughly with one hand, probably, maybe. or maybe not. I'm going to put you down for a minute. There we go. That's not much more than 50 RPM as we are now, but we haven't got a lot of power for heavy cuts because the VFD is down to about half speed. So there's plenty of range there. But we haven't got, in that speed there at, what is it, about 35 hertz, we haven't got a lot of power with a big chuck and a big heavy work job on it. I mean, you wouldn't take 2.2 of a millimetre cut off the outside of a piece of 50mm 2-inch bar. You wouldn't do that with that power you got there, whereas a back gear would fix that. You would absolutely wind springs at this, but you wouldn't probably do that. And if we pick this back up to 70, she jumps around a bit because that belt might be a fraction tight. I was expecting it to actually stretch a bit, but it hasn't. But I think we're probably here only still doing, we could get the tacho out and measure it, but we're not doing a lot there. I think we're doing about 400 flat out. If I run this off here and back on this one, can I do that? There we go. That's probably 1800 RPM there. So, turn that off. So, that's sort of flat out. If you're going to run it any quicker than that, you're going to have to back the bearings off, because in a plain bearing head, you're going to find that you're going to seize it up. Running this at that 2500 RPM. So I think that with a back gear we could get everything, but it's sort of not even close to being on the radar at the moment. Not even thinking about that. Now, everyone says, well, why don't you buy another lathe? Which is a fair point, but how much fun is a new lathe? You end up making projects instead of making tools to make projects. There's no fun in that. And it wouldn't have this amazing arrangement on the end of a new lathe, and it probably wouldn't be all that much better. So I'm going to persevere with this and get it going and get it nice, because with some exceptions, as far as new lathes go, this is probably more repeatable and more rigid and better for parting off, all those sort of things. And I've spent a lot of money on it and I'll never get it back. We might make a project, yes. But that's what we're messing with. That's what's happening. I'm not convinced that we're actually being productive about it. If anyone has any thoughts about how to get this launch text into a CAD program, so that I can put it on the pattern for this hole guard over here, because we're going to put a nice cast pattern, square pattern around here, casting around here to stop things going down the hole. With Lorch written on it here, maybe, to match. I think I'm probably just going to do a rubbing and cut it out with a fret saw. That's probably about what's going to happen. Don't know. And then glue the bits on a pattern. Anyway, that's generally the way I do things. Also, it's that head tailstock that we're not going to talk about. Anyway, this is why I feel guilty for not actually doing very much this weekend. I've filled up 3 or 4 pages in a sketchbook. I watched some TV. If you want to know what I'm watching, I've finished watching Derry Girls, which is quality cinema on the best. Yeah, absolute quality cinema. Convert from photo software, probably something like that. And there probably is something, I've just got to find it. I haven't even cleaned up in here. The place is a bit of a shambles. I'm tripping over stuff. I did put that bit of scrolling on that box and finish that, and that doesn't look terrible. Did put the final bit of text on that sign. Got it ready to go. Haven't even looked at this. Went and did some shopping for the sawmill project. Haven't put anything away. So there we go. Haven't packed anything for the weekend. And this place is an absolute shambles. So that's where we're at. Anyone got any questions? Because we're good with questions. Just no good at all with answers. Answers are something that we're not good with. But I don't think this is a particularly difficult thing. I've just never done it. And if I had this software, this actually made up, I would probably put it on the guard at the back too. But I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if there's much else to actually really say. A lot of planning, a lot of sketches, a lot of thinking, and a lot more to go on with after this conversation. But hopefully one day we'll actually have this finished. Before you realise that Bill's last post has actually got a spelling mistake in it, nobody should, right? Here we go. Here's a tip from me before you actually do it. Nobody should Google AI boob tennis, right? Because that's a very bad thing to do. So don't Google AI boob tennis. And cheese has no meaning, it just is. Too late, Raymond's already Googled it. Could take a steam engine to some miniature steam down to fridges, so we're going to have a bit of a mess with that. I think we've got the boiler set up so we can run miniature steam, which is fun. Because we've got nothing else to do with our life. We're going to run the Roby, which is a vertical boiler engine, and we're going to run the Marshall, I believe. I don't know if we're going to run the roller. It'd be very nice to have the roller move so we can mow under it, which means putting a fire in it, or towing it around or something like that. So whether we just tow it from one place to another, or whether we actually, I don't know. Don't know whether we're going to get the roller steamed or not. I've got some belts to go down still on the bracket, but I've got to pull the belt, the lifter hose bracket off, and draw around the hole so I can make a bracket for the nameplate, so we can have an official naming ceremony. So at some point we're going to have a plate to put on it. Anyway, that's that. What else? Nameplate hasn't got cast yet. Karen's made pattern, so the pattern's ready to be cast. It may have been cast at some point, but Doc's had a broken thumb from a storm-related accident, i.e. coming down the ramp when he was drunk to put things away because there was a storm and falling over, or getting it caught on the end of the... I don't think he was drunk even. I don't think he drinks that much. But he got his finger caught on the end of a handrail and it hasn't done him any good. So we've been a bit lax as far as that goes. I went up there and we ended up making a pattern. We've got a beautiful CNC routed pattern. It's really nice, but it hasn't been cast yet. I'd hoped to have it to take down with me, but I won't have a bracket or anything to mount it on anyway, so next trip. Anyway, before we go, who's got an awesome video up? Rustinox. Very good video. I saw a short, I think, from Ian Matthews. Nigel's got very good video on the die filer. You should check that out. Didn't see one from Bill this week. There's one from Chirpy, good video from Chirpy. You should go and check Chirpy's video out. That's a very, if you're interested in casting and traditional hand tools and found pattern making and stuff. Very good one from Chirpy. It looks like a good tool. Was there one from Journeyman Randy? Not sure I saw that. I may not have your notifications turned on, Randy. Gonna have to a look at that. Didn't see one from Stuart. Didn't see one from Fridge. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate that. Yeah, very nice job on that lead screw. That's a bit more of a challenge than it actually looks when you go to do something like that, and you've done good. Anyway, I'm going to call it, I think. I think I've had enough. I'm going to go to bed, get up in the morning. I've got to go and pick up a tin of tannin, or a drum of tannin for the weekend. Rustinox, the useless thing in my favourite sort of videos nearly, besides complicated machines that work properly. got to pick up a drum of tannin to take with me from the other side of Brisbane somewhere, or this side of Brisbane somewhere. Got to go and chase that in the morning. Come home, put everything in my paint box again, stick my mattress in the back of the van, and pick up some school books and other stuff, some clothes, and I'm heading off. So hopefully we'll get some video over the weekend and I'll be able to edit that up Monday or Tuesday if I get back in time. So that's what's happening. Anyone who wants to come down to Fridges, if you're in northern New South Wales or anywhere close by, if you're within a couple of hours that's close by, you should definitely turn up. We're looking at you, Mark, whoever else is around in that area. Anyone's watching this from Coffs or Lismore or Grafton or anywhere there, get in touch. Come and have some fun with some steam engines. Like to see you. Anyway, invitations there. Good tucker. Reasonable company. A lot of crazies and some steam engines. So one day someone will actually take me up on that and I won't know what to do. But anyway, take care. I'm out. Bit of a long drive for Dudley. Ankles there, plug for duck feet because these are amazing. And I'll probably be on chat for a bit tonight because I've got tomorrow off. So we'll catch you if you're on Discord or wherever else. Don't be afraid to get in touch, and we'll see you guys. Thanks.